friends, and welcome to Books and Things with Joan. I'm Joan, and it's a pleasure to have you on this channel once again. If this is your first time coming to this channel, I'm elated, I'm excited, and I'm blessed to have you here. And today we're going to be reviewing a book by Tolstoy, like I said last week. It's a combination of 4 stories, and I believe the book was written to convey moral messages about life and how to live life and all of that, because every single story has a unique message it passes on its own. So it's this kind of book that when you read the first story, you're like, this is nice. You read the second story, you're like, this is even better. That's exactly how the book is. At least that's how I felt when I read it. The first story we're going to be reviewing today is titled What Men Live By. When I first of all read the title of this story, and I was like, what do men live by? And that's something I just want you to ponder about for a few minutes. If somebody asks you what you live by, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? You know, personally, when I thought about it, I was thinking about my values, my preferences, what I like, what I hate, what guides my way of life and stuff like that. And that just triggered a little bit more curiosity within for me to go in and just read the story and find out exactly what men live by. I'm going to give you a short rundown of the story, and in the end, as always, I'll give the lessons I personally learned from reading this book. Are you ready? Let's go. The book talks about a man who was found naked by a church, and he was found by a very, very poor shoemaker on his way back from collecting coins people owed him. Like, he was collecting his debts, so to speak. So when on his way back, he met this poor naked guy by the church, and it was winter. He helped the guy, gave him clothes, and took him home. Fast forward to a few years later, this rich man came into their house one day, and he was like, I want you people to make me a beautiful pair of shoes out of this expensive leather, and I want it done perfectly within this period of time. Yeah, he was so arrogant in his demand for the shoemaking, and he gave certain unrealistic conditions. Now, I'm not going to give you a lot of details because I want you to read the story. Yeah, so this rich man was arrogant in his demands, and of course the shoemaker obliged him. The poor guy who was naked before was actually part of the shoemaking business which his friend who clothed him had developed. The guy who was found naked, who had learned the trade, actually took the man's shoe and made him a pair of slippers. And his master came back and he was like, why will you make him a pair of slippers? This man is arrogant and he's troublesome and he's rich, you know. So I don't understand why you made him a pair of slippers instead of a pair of shoes. He asked for a pair of shoes. A few moments later, the man's servants came back and told the shoemaker that, oh, his master is actually dead. And the wife said he won't need the shoes anymore. He needs just a pair of slippers. The master picked up the shoe, dusted it, and gave to the servant and told him to take it to the master's wife for the burial. And later on, a few months later again, a lady came back to do a pair of shoes with 2 of her daughters. And when this guy who was found naked saw them, he was so excited and he was astonished. And when they finished giving their commands for shoes and everything, the guy who found him by the church naked realized that he had this glow to his face that they haven't seen. He smiled, he was happy. And he asked him, so why are you happy? He said he has learned a few lessons. And the reasons why he's smiling is because God sent him to earth to learn 3 lessons. And this is actually the last lesson he's learned. So that's basically what the story is about. I'm about to give you the 3 lessons he learned. I could explain the lessons to you, but I feel like it's better if I read it. Okay? I'm just going to read the lessons just so, yeah, you'll get a hang of it. I've learned that all men live not by care for themselves, but by love. It was not given to the mother to know what her child needed for her life, nor was it given to the rich man to know what he himself needed. Nor is it given to any man to know whether when evening comes he will need boots for his body or slippers for his corpse. I remained alive when I was a man, not by care of myself, but because love was present in a passerby, and because he and his wife pitied and loved me. The orphans remained alive not because of their mother's care, but because there was love in the heart of a woman, a stranger to them who pitied and loved them. And all men live not by thought they spend on their own welfare, but because love exists in man. We as human beings live not by love for ourselves or how much we care for ourselves, but because love resides in man. And man in this situation, I like to believe, is plural. Man means those around you. And when I read what men live by, and I read the story of how love actually saved people and how love is present in man, and we actually survive based on this love, I realized that most often we take for granted the love of man. Love of man in terms we take for granted our parents' love, our friends' love, our siblings' love, and we forget that we need their help at one point in time to be able to live and to be able to survive. This just got me thinking about people who grew up without parents, people who grew up without close relations to be able to look after them, and they were taken care of by friends, families, and even strangers. You know, when you have a baby or when you have a family member, you always feel like it's your responsibility to take care of that person and to take care of yourself, which is not a lie. It's actually very true. You have the responsibility to take care of yourself and your child or your relative or whoever. However, you have to understand that if you pass away, it doesn't matter how much care you have for them. What they need at the time is people who love them. What they need is human love, because you won't be able to be there for them at every single stage in their life. There are different situations and different instances in life where we will depend on the love of other people to be able to survive. So when I see, or when I get the impression that people feel like they can live life on their own, it's actually very astonishing, because we really don't know when we're going to die. We don't know when we're going to need help and who is going to be willing to give that help. So the first lesson I learned from this book is that we have to value people. You know, we have to value people not in terms of what we can get from them, but in terms of how they are, who they are. Are they kind people? Are they compassionate? Will they be able to be there for us when we need them? You know, those are the virtues we have to look for when we're seeking acquaintance. Those are the kind of things we have to consider when we're trying to get people close to us. Now, the second lesson I learned from reading this book is that we really don't know tomorrow. We really don't know what's going to happen the next minute. And we're living by grace and by hope. Grace for a better tomorrow. Grace that God is going to cover us regardless of whatever we go through. And hope that the day of tomorrow is going to be good. We can't exactly tell how it's going to be, but we hope and we pray that it's actually going to be. And regardless of whatever we go through, we just have to keep in mind at the back of our minds at some point that we cannot actually know tomorrow. I'm saying this particularly to myself because I'm a control freak. I like to know what's going to happen when. I can actually plan my life in a straight line. And I'm actually getting to understand, after constant reminder from my husband, that you can't actually control everything, because we really cannot know tomorrow. It's just something I learned and it's something I'm trying to incorporate for myself, just how to accept versatility and changes fast, because I'm really stiff when it comes to things not going my way. Yeah. What's the third lesson I learned? I learned that it's actually good to be kind, regardless of how you feel. It's good for you to be kind. And apart from the kindness, it's good for you to be kind beyond how you feel. And this is particularly for women. We women were emotional beings. We react based on their emotions. Still talking to myself. And sometimes we get so caught up in our emotions and we forget to do the right thing, you know. we forget to just do the right thing. We just focus on, I'm angry, I won't do this, or I'm angry, I will do this. And what we do, it may not necessarily be what's right to be done. So yeah, those are really the 3 lessons I learned from this story, and I hope they were beneficial. And if you want to get the book, I'm just going to put the link of the book in the description box. Just share with me what you feel like you learned from the video, or what you learned from reading the book, and I'd love to hear from you any day, anytime. Well, I think that's it for today. We can call it a wrap. Have a great week.